Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching the Book Dragon. In today's video, I wanted to do something different, so I'm going to talk about 8 ways you should not read books. Okay, I've seen a lot of videos about people talking how you should read books, but I've not seen many videos on which how you should not read books, which I think is also very important in order to improve your reading experience and enjoy the process of reading books. So without any further ado, let's get into the 8 things now. Number 1, don't speed read just for the sake of reading more books. Okay, I'm saying this mainly because of experience. I've done this in the past and I'm not at all doing it anytime ever in the future or in the present, because that's one thing which will just totally ruin your reading experience. Okay, while I was in college, that's the time when I started watching Booktube, and I saw these booktubers saying in their wrap-ups that they read 10 books per month, 20 books per month, and it was so much fun to see those things, and I wanted to try those, and I did do some things like that for a month or two in college, and I should say it was not at all fun. Okay, it was just so frustrating. I forgot this whole purpose of why I was reading. I was reading mainly for pleasure, and I was reading for getting entertained and just seeking out different things and different worlds through reading, but that purpose was totally jammed up because of a single thought that I have to read more books, and I started speed reading. Okay, I'm not saying that speed reading is wrong in any way. If you're having fun even while speed reading, just go forward and do it, because the sole purpose of reading is that you have to get entertained, or you'll have to get something which you want and you like out of it. If it doesn't give you either of the things and you're just doing it for the sake of reading more, trust me, it's not worth it. Okay, just take your sweet time and read slowly and experience everything that's inside a book, and just give it some time and give yourself some time, because most of the books that you read are just going to be for one time. You're not going to reread each and every book that you read in your life. So just take your sweet time and read slowly and just enjoy the experience. Number 2, don't push through a book that you don't like. Okay, I'm saying this also out of experience. Actually, all of the things that I'm talking about are mostly out of experience. One example that I quote for you today is, I tried reading this one book in 2020, okay, in the July of 2020, and it just messed up the next 2 months for me in 2020. The book that I'm talking about is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Mark Manson. Okay, I've actually tried reading that book once before and I did not like it and DNF'd it. And what happened is, during the while the quarantine started, I started listening to a lot more of audiobooks. One of my friends, they just suggested me that they love that book and they wanted to know my views on it. So I went forward and pushed myself through that book. Okay, it's not even that long. It's a 5 to 6 hour long audiobook, which on double speed is just 2 to 3 hours long. And I should say, I regret reading that book because it was so much frustrating for me to read the whole time. I didn't want to read it, but I just pushed through it for the sake of discuss it on my channel and discuss it with my friend. But I should say it was a very bad decision. I'm so sad that I did it in the past, and it just messed up the next 2 entire months for me, which was like horrible, which was like purely horrible. So please don't push yourself to read something that you don't want to read. If it's something that's required for school or for studies, then it has a point that you have to read it. But if you're just doing it for leisure, or if you're doing it on your own, it's not necessary to push through something that you don't like to read, and it'll just mess up your whole reading experience as well as reading schedule. Number 3, this is the most important of all the things that you should not do. Okay, don't compare yourself with others, or don't compete with others. Okay, because this is one thing which will totally f up your reading experience as a whole. When you start comparing your reading with others, I'm sure that you're going to ruin their experience as well as yours. It's not just a single thing, a thing which involves a single person. You're also going to mess up something for the other person as well, in a good way or a bad way. You don't want to do it in either way. Just stick with your reading schedule and stick with your goals, and just read for for the sake of fun and enjoy reading as an experience. I have done this also in the past. Okay, when I see some people updating goals on Goodreads like 100 books per year, I've even seen one person update 365 books per year, and I tried reading a lot more, which ended up miserably for me. Okay, I did not even want to read more because I just fell into a slump, and one of the main reasons why I did that was that I became so competitive. I started comparing. Usually I don't compare myself with others, I compare myself with the past self of me. But when I am a very competitive person. Okay, if I start thinking in the terms of competition, it's so hard for me to get myself out of it, because it will be tough for me, and I have faced that a lot of times. That's one thing which I'll have to practice on my own before telling it to you guys. Don't try to compete with others, because it's not worth it, it's not necessary. And if it's fun for you, if you're just doing it with friends and just competing in a way that who enjoys it more, or who reads a lot of books, who reads it quick, and if you're just doing it for discussion, it's good in that way. But if you're just doing it for yourself, I'll have to compete with this person and I'll have to read more number of books or more number of pages than this particular person, it's simply not worth it. Okay, it's simply not worth it. Number 4, don't read when you don't want to read. Okay, this is also something which many of us do. I used to do this, but I don't do it right now. I used to do this in the beginning of quarantine, but I'm not doing it right now because there are certain days during which, while I wake up in the morning, I feel a bit tired and I don't feel that much motivated to read. So nowadays what I do is, I don't care, I just keep up reading aside and try to do something else. I try to script some videos, or I try to do something that's related to work, or I try and do some courses, or I watch some videos in order to learn some things. But I don't go and read stuff, because if you don't want to read and you try to read at the same time, it will definitely be just so opposite in many ways, and you'll not be motivated not to read more in the future. Even if it's a book, if some book that you'll definitely enjoy, I'm sure that when you're not in the mood to read, and if you don't want to read at a particular instant and you're trying to read something, it will definitely mess up that book for you. And I don't think that anyone needs to mess up a good book just for the sake that they don't feel like reading and they end up reading at the same time, and it'll just not be the right thing to do. So don't read when you don't want to read. Number 5, don't read a book just because of its hype. Okay, just because a book is talked about a lot in the community, it doesn't mean that you need to read it. If it is something which resonates with you and it is something which you like to explore, then go forward and read that book. Otherwise, it's not necessary. Okay, even if it's something which people say that everyone needs to read, if you don't feel like you want to read it, don't read it, because it doesn't matter. No one has a count of whether you're reading a book or not, and it's not necessary at all. And also, one thing which I've noticed many times is that if I read a book just for the sake of the fact that it's being hyped a lot, I usually bump up my expectations a lot, and the book does not live up to such great expectations. And at times, even if such a book is a really good book, because of the expectations that I build up due to the hype, and I read it at the time of the hype, it isn't that much fun, and it does not get all the credit that it deserves. So don't ever read a book just because for its hype. Check if it is resonating with you in some way or the other, or if you're interested in reading the subject of the book in some way or the other, and then go and read it. Number 6, this is something which you have to keep in mind always, okay, because this is something which will definitely happen for every person. Don't feel guilty for what you're reading. Okay, you can read anything. You can be a 30-year-old person, 40-year-old person, 100-year-old person, and you might like reading children's books. Don't feel guilty. Don't let others make you feel guilty in any way. For example, at times when I read certain books, certain subjects, it just feels like this is something which might make me feel guilty, but it's not at all wrong in any way. So if I like it, I'll just go forward and read it. I'm trying to make myself feel less guilty, because it's not going to cause a problem for anyone. It's not going to cause a problem for me. It's not going to cause a problem for anyone that's surrounding me, or anyone whom I have an effect on while I talk about reading that book, because most of the time I read for the sake of myself. Very rarely do I take recommendations from other people and read it. I do see a lot of people talking about books, and I curate my own preferences from the various recommendations that people talk about, but I just don't focus on a single person and just take up everything that they say, talk about and read. There are multiple hyped books which I've seen in Booktube itself, and many books like that have been talked about Booktubers that I love and just adore. Okay, if they talk about certain books, I'll trust them and read them. But it's not like just because it's hyped and it's talked by my best booktuber, it doesn't mean that I'm going to read it. Or if I'm reading a book which is not that great, many people don't like it, it's very subjective, and if I end up liking it, I'm not going to feel guilty for reading it, because it's just the way I read, and everyone is different, so you need not feel guilty for anything that you read. Number 7, don't confine your reading to a particular genre. Okay, many people start doing this as they age. Okay, I've thought of doing it to myself. Usually while I was in college, I used to read a lot more of young adult books and not that many adult books. The only adult books which I read in college was the Game of Thrones series of 5 books, and I've not at all read any other adult books while I was in college. But after I finished college, I started to explore a lot more different genres. Also, while I was in college, I mostly read only fantasy books, not any other genre. After I came out of college, I needed to explore a lot of new different things. And when I started seeing Booktube also, it was getting an even more diversified rather than just contemporary and fantasy. If you watch any famous Booktube channel, they'll be mostly talking about either fantasy books or contemporary books, because they are things which many people fall in love with easily, and they are those books which can be marketed easily also. Usually thrillers, I don't see them being marketed as much as these two genres. So while you're growing in your life, don't think that I'm in this particular stage of my life, it means that I cannot read certain category of books. It doesn't mean anything like that at all. If you're 20 or 25, you can still read children's books. You can even read middle grade fantasy books and enjoy them. It's not at all like I've grown this much. It does mean that I should read only non-fiction books and non-fiction books at all. It's not at all like that. Don't confine your reading at any part of your life, because it is something which you should not do if you want to enjoy the process of reading. The last tip number 8, is something which is a very influential thing that people do to us, and we might also get influenced due to some things, not in a conscious level but in a subconscious way, which is that you should not let others' opinions change your thoughts or views about a book. I've seen many booktubers who are very, very honest. Okay, one time I saw Daniel Green's review of Six of Crows. Okay, Six of Crows is one of the books which I love. Okay, it's one of my all-time favorite books, and while he put out the review, I went forward and watched it. That was the time during which I felt so much hatred for watching a review, because I like his videos and I like the way he articulates his stuff to the people. And his review of Six of Crows was something which I did not like, because he just kept on saying his views. Also, it's not anything personal. It was just confined to that particular book in general, and I felt a lot angry while watching that review. Also, I was able to understand his point of view. Everyone is different, right? It doesn't mean that if I like a book, it need not be liked by every other person in this world. Also, one thing which I can easily say is that Mockingjay, okay, you all know, if you've been following me, how much I hate Mockingjay, and I recommended the Hunger Games trilogy to one of my friends. Okay, two of my friends actually. One of them read it before, and she said that she hated Mockingjay as well. Why does the book even exist? And there is this other friend of mine. Okay, he is my best friend. He's been my friend for so very long right now, and I think he's the friend that I've had for the longest in my life. He texted me yesterday. Okay, last night he texted me and said that he liked Mockingjay, and he had a bad news, and he said that he liked Mockingjay. I was like, why should you do this to me? I need not have even known it. Okay, and there are certain things which like that. Anyway, if he says that if he loves it, it's not going to change my opinion of the book, and I'm not going to say that I like Mockingjay in any way. Every single aspect of Mockingjay I hate, and no other person's opinion is going to change that fact for me. I might read it in the future, and it might feel in a different way and resonate in a different way with me sometime in the future if I end up reading it. But some other person's opinion about a single book, in a positive or negative way, it's not going to change my thought about the book in any way. I said these as examples mainly because I love Six of Crows, Daniel Green didn't like it, and I hate Mockingjay, and my friend liked it. That's the thing that I was trying to compare here. So don't let others' opinions change your thoughts about a book that you're reading or loving. Okay guys, that's all for today, and these are the 8 things which you have to keep in mind and not do while reading in order to enjoy the process of reading books. Yeah, that's it for today. If you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel, because I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.